It's fine. It's cool. Everything's alright in the world. Hi everyone. My name is Ashley, and I'm here to talk about Twilight. So there was a countdown on Stephenie Meyer's website, and no one knew what it was about, and people were speculating. They thought it was going to be Midnight Sun, or they thought it was going to be the second Host series. I thought it was going to be that because I want it desperately, and they were just throwing out stuff, what they thought it was going to be. They find out it is Midnight Sun, which is Twilight from Edward's perspective, and I am excited. So this book was originally in the works back when Twilight was doing its thing, and someone hacked into her computer because people are jerks and leaked the story. And she was mad, of course. I think anyone would be mad if their story was leaked, and so she put it on hold and she didn't want to release it. And there's been talk of her finishing the story, and she gave it to her mom, and her mom didn't like it, so she never released it. I don't know what sparked her to release it now, but I'm living for it. I am so stoked, and yeah, I am just extremely excited for Twilight. So in honor of this release, I went to YouTube and looked for the Twilight Tag, and I'm going to answer some questions and talk about my Twilight experience and what it's been like throughout the years, because I've definitely done Twilight things outside of like the Twilight timeline. Also, I don't really know where this tag originated, so if you know, let me know and I will add them to my description, but here we go. Okay, so the first question is, what movie and book is your favorite? So it's really funny thinking about what my favorite is because they're the complete opposite. So for the book, my favorite is Eclipse. I just get so excited thinking about this book. This is the book where Edward proposes. He proposed in New Moon, but that's whatever. Like, he proposes in here and she says yes, and it is such a great moment, and I love it. And I love the dynamic because like they're back together and just everything's just amazing. I have it marked. This is like when I originally read it for the first time. I wasn't into like highlighting or doing anything, so I would just like, I'm pretty sure this is just like a medical receipt that I like tore up to like stick in for like all my favorite quotes or things that just made me happy. Eclipse is my favorite book, but my favorite movie is New Moon. By the way, this cover looks different because when Twilight was re-released in theaters for the 10th anniversary, they redid all the covers, and I bought them because I need to own like 5 different versions of it, because why not? So anyway, this is my favorite film. I love the pain. I love the music. I love how they did the wolves. I can't stand Jacob, but I love how they did it. I love the dynamic of the pack. I think that was really great. The Volturi scene, the part where Edward like flips on the ground, and in each different film they portrayed how a vampire is injured, and I believe in this one it's like they're glass, like they're just breaking apart, and I really loved how they did the Volturi. Arrow is like one of my favorite characters. I was so excited. Like, I did not care for him in the book. Like, not that I like disliked him, he was just sort of like whatever. But in the movie, like, he made me love his character, and I was just so excited like every time he came on screen. But the funny part is I cannot read New Moon. I've tried rereading the series and I cannot get through New Moon. Eclipse, favorite book, love it. It's like one of the worst out of like the franchise. Like, I had such high expectations for this as a movie and it just didn't meet it. But I did watch this a few years ago and I did not dislike it as much as I did the first time. But this is still my favorite. Okay, so the next question is, what has your experience been like with Twilight? So I've had a very positive experience with Twilight. I never grew out of Twilight. I definitely don't talk about it as much as I used to, probably as like middle school, but if the conversation comes up, like I'll easily talk about it. If there's a signing or if there's an event, like I'm gonna try my hardest to be there. It's what got me into reading, and it's something that just brings me happiness in life, so I just want to be a part of it at all times. So after Twilight, all the movies came out. I was in middle school, high school. I think I was like a sophomore, maybe a junior, when the last movie came out. So my dad never let me go to like the LA premieres because LA's like 6 hours from us, and he's like, no, you're like a kid, you're not going. And I was like, Dad, I gotta go. He was like, no. So I went to the midnight showings. Second best. It was okay. But that was such a great experience. Like, I love going to midnight premieres now. I mean, they don't happen as much now because they're like, oh, let's do a 6 o'clock showing on Thursday. And it's like, it's not the same. It's not the same seeing it 6 o'clock on Thursday and seeing it at midnight. Because it's like staying up and then actually watching it. And then my friend and I would typically, we would go to the midnight showing, and then there would be like a 2 o'clock showing afterwards, like 2 a.m. And we would go see that 2 a.m. showing. And then we would go home, because the rule was if I was to go to the midnight showing, I had to go to school the next day. So we would go to school on like 2 hours of sleep, and we always fell asleep during the second showing because we had been up all day. And I'd always wait, like I was one of those people that waited like 6 hours in line to see this movie. I was always first in line, and it was just such an experience. Also going to like the DVD launches. There was one at Borders for New Moon, and that was such a great experience. There was a bus with New Moon merch on it, and we got to play games, and we got to like wait in line for like the DVD to come out. That was great. That was just, I miss like midnight launches. I wish I had done them for like books, because for books it's just like, oh, it's Tuesday launch at that day. Like no one ever does like midnight launches, and they're just, I love anticipating things. I love waiting in line. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's mine. So after the big Twilight phase, I still like talked about it, but didn't really interact as much. I did get to go to Forks. I went to Forks my junior year, and that was great. I went with my dad, my grandma, my sister. We went to all the spots. I took all the pictures. It was great. We ate at the diner that Bella eats at, and Forks is beautiful, by the way. It's a really long drive, but it's beautiful. The Push is beautiful, and I totally want to go back for Stephenie Meyer Day. I've not done that yet because it typically happens while I'm in school, but I'm graduating, so maybe I can go this year if they do it, or next year. Next year's the year. Fingers crossed. So that's one thing of Twilight that I want to do. And then I did get to meet Stephenie Meyer. Life-changing. It was life-changing. We drove to LA, there and back in like 24 hours. I was first in line again. So cool hearing her speak. Like, she's such a cool person. Meeting Stephenie Meyer definitely was a highlight of my Twilight life. I was at the last bookstore in LA. We got the 10th anniversary edition. This was signed, and then we had an additional book signed. And then she had professional photos taken, which was amazing because, you know, sometimes you can have a blurry photo with your phone, and that's like the one time you get to meet them, and it's just like not great. But no, she had like a professional photographer, and it was just, and she sat and talked to you, and it was so great. I teared up just a little bit like at the end, and I could not stop smiling. Like, I think I smiled for the next like 24 hours because it was just like, I just could not believe what I just did. And my 12-year-old self was like, you lived your life. This is great. So fast forward a few years, the 10th anniversary of the movie comes out, and I'm stoked, of course. So I buy a ticket for, it was a Sunday and a Tuesday showing, so I bought tickets for both. I went with my grandma to the Sunday showing, and it was great. There was a message from Catherine Hardwicke, which is, it was nice watching the film again and seeing it from, like, just seeing it in theaters, because you just haven't seen a Twilight film in theaters for so long, because it's different watching a movie at home than it is watching it in theaters. And yeah, the theater wasn't that full, but it's fine. It was just, it was great. But then I found out that there was a Q&A with Stephenie Meyer in LA, so I was like, wait, I gotta go. I ended up driving with someone to LA and back in 24 hours again, to this Q&A. Tasha and Christine hosted it, and that was one of the coolest experiences because it was a bunch of Twilight fans, and not just people drove to like watch this film. And there were people from like Nevada, there were people from like all over California. Like, it wasn't just like LA locals, like people came to see this film, to see this Q&A, and it was great. I like to say that I watched Twilight with Stephenie Meyer. I mean, I doubt she was in like the theater, but like, that's the story, and that's where it's gonna be. So now we fast forward again, and we're here with Midnight Sun. It just keeps living. I'm excited. I'm just so, I love Twilight. We'll sum it up there. Okay, so the next question is my favorite character. So I'm definitely a Bella fan. Like, I know people have like issues with her, but I enjoy Bella as a character, and I think people need to. So Bella in the book and Bella in the movie are, they're different. I mean, they do have like similar qualities, but they are different. Bella is extremely sarcastic, and Bella is funny. And I totally forgot that quality until I reread Twilight again, and I was like, oh yeah, she's like hysterical. And she was definitely someone like I looked up to like as a kid. I did like her in the movie as well. Kristen Stewart, I was one of those people who like bought every magazine that had her name in it. I copied her style. I wore so many flannels. I mean, I still wear flannels, but not to like the extent I wore flannels like back in the day. Because I was just trying to be Kristen Stewart, because I thought she was like the thing. Okay, so the next question is Team Edward or Team Jacob? I think it's pretty obvious, but I'm like a Team Edward fan. I have my Edward here, which by the way, someone gave this to me as a Secret Santa gift in high school, and I've kept it. It's literally just like a magazine and like a dollar store frame, but it was like so sweet and I love it. I also have my Edward here. I'm wearing a Team Edward t-shirt. I can't stand Jacob, never liked Jacob, didn't care for him, and yeah, I didn't even like Taylor Lautner because people were like obsessed with like how he looked, and I was like, no, Robert Pattinson, I'll defend it, it's good. The next question is your favorite Cullen besides Edward, and I would have to go with Alice. I really enjoyed Alice's character. I always wanted to know more about her. She was just so sweet, but she was also so damaged at the same time. And they did give some hint to like what happened to her before she became a vampire. And yeah, she just really intrigued me. And I also really loved her fashion sense and how she was a really great friend to Bella. And yeah, I loved Alice. So the next question is favorite song from the soundtrack or favorite soundtrack? So my favorite soundtrack is New Moon, because I love everything about New Moon. And my favorite song is from Breaking Dawn Part 1, Turning Page. I tear up when I hear that song. It still makes me emotional listening to it. Also 1,000 Years, that song also makes me emotional. It just brings back happiness, and I just, when I hear those songs, it makes me think of Twilight. Okay, so the next question is, how often do you watch a Twilight movie? So I definitely don't watch Twilight as much as I used to because I just don't put it on as often as I do. For me, it's one of those things, like once I put it on, then I want to watch all of it just because I haven't seen it in such a long time. But like back in the day when like the movies are being released or like right after they were all released, I'd watch them quite frequently. And every year on Edward's birthday, I would bake cupcakes and I would watch all the movies, all 5 movies in a day, and it was a great experience. And it was just one of those days, like, it was like my Twilight dedication day. Okay, so the next question is, would you rather be a vampire or a werewolf? I think this is also pretty obvious. I'd want to be a vampire. Yeah, the wolves are cool, but like a vampire. You get to live forever, you sparkle, and I don't know, you get to find someone like Edward. It's just a great life. Alright, so the next question is, what vampire power would you want? So I really liked Benjamin's power in Breaking Dawn Part 2. And I liked how he got to play with elements. I thought that was awesome. And I like Bella's power as a shield because I think that'd be powerful. And I like Alice's power to see the future, but I think that would cause a lot of pain for my head, so I don't know if I'd actually want that. Also, I like Jasper's power, able to like mess with people's emotions, but I think that would also be tiresome and just cause a lot of head pain, and I wouldn't want that if I was living for it forever. So yeah, either like Bella's or Benjamin's, because it wouldn't mess with my mind too much. Alright, so the next question is, most embarrassing thing you did because of Twilight. So I'm not one of those people who gets embarrassed by things that I enjoy. I'm very open about like my love of Twilight. I think that's something, they're like, Ashley, Twilight. Like, it's just something that's part of my identity, and I'm not embarrassed by anything I do for Twilight. I will talk about it to anyone, even people who don't like Twilight. Like, I will sit there and talk about it, and they can make fun of me all day, and I'll still be smiling, and I'll still be having a great time. Alright, so the next question is, a part that made you cry in the book and in the movie. So I don't cry often, like, during a book or a movie, but a part that made me very emotional was when Edward left the New Moon. Because, you know, I haven't been able to reread the book since. And a part that made me cry during the movie was in Breaking Dawn Part 1, when they did a Twilight shot and then they did the current, like, Breaking Dawn shot. And that just got me really emotional because I was like, wow, it came so far, but now it's over. That was really rough. And also in Breaking Dawn Part 1, when Edward's trying to save Bella's life, and he's like, come on, you can do it. And like, that was just really emotional. It's like one of my favorite scenes because I just think it was really well done. Okay, so the next question is, name all the movies from your favorite to least favorite. Okay, so I've talked about it, but New Moon is my favorite. My favorite scene in New Moon is, I got so hyped when this trailer was released, when, I think that's the one trailer I watched over and over again, when Jacob comes running out and he like jumps into wolf form to save Bella from Sam. And then the part where he like jumped on the tree into like Bella's room, that was also really cool. But my favorite scene in New Moon would have to be the water scene when she jumps and they're both in the water. Actually, that scene also makes me very emotional. And I just get all, it's just sad. It's just really sad. But it was so beautiful. So New Moon is definitely my favorite. And then it's like so hard. Like, I know Eclipse is my least favorite. Like, I've already established that. But like, thinking about these 3, they all sort of like, I think it just depends on my mood. I'm definitely like, you know what, I have to go with Breaking Dawn Part 1 because I love the pregnancy scene. I love the wedding, and yeah, I would say Breaking Dawn Part 1 because it brings me happiness. And my favorite scene out of here would have to be, I think when she walks down the aisle and you just do like this pan shot of everyone. And I just like things that bring me happiness, and that brings me happiness. Okay, so now we're at like the end and the beginning. So I could go with either one, like 3 or 4. It could go either way. My favorite scene of Twilight would probably have to be the prom scene. I love the part where they're dancing together and Victoria's like looking in on them. That's a really great scene. And then for breaking down part 2, I love the ending when Renesmee, Edward, and Bella are like all together, and there's like this really cute like family picture of them. And I also love the cottage scene. Like I love the tour of the house. I thought, like when I read it in the book, I was like so excited to see it like in real life because Alice designed it, so of course it was gonna be amazing. Alright, and then my least favorite is Eclipse. My favorite scene in here, I liked the graduation scene and I liked the party. I mostly like the graduation scene because of Anna Kendrick. And the tent scene, it was something I enjoyed. It was something we were looking forward to in the book. I was also looking forward to the engagement scene. I think I just wanted so much out of it. And that's what fell short for me a bit. I just wanted more. I think I just wanted the chapter, like everything that was in the chapter, like word from word, I wanted in that scene. And it wasn't. But it's fine. It's all good. Oh, I also love the meadow scene in here. When they open it and they do the Robert Frost poem. That was also really great. So yeah, that is the Twilight Tag. I'm excited for Midnight Sun. I will probably be doing a Twilight readathon in July. If no one else does it, I'll probably like make my own. I want to watch the movies and read all the books, and I'm excited for it. So let me know your thoughts on Midnight Sun. If you're excited for it or if you don't really care for it, that's cool too. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.